Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. How has 2025 been for you? Because I feel like this new year has so much new energy and just a lot of blessings coming through, and I'm just really excited for the new year in general. To give you a little backstory, I did end up launching my body butter. So if you've been with me for a while, I finally launched my body butters, which I'm so excited to be sharing with you. I went through a lot emotionally just trying to get this up and running, and the fact that it's finally available for everyone to purchase, it makes my heart very happy. So if you're interested, I'm gonna be linking that for you in my description box below. Just as a reminder, my Bare Comfort body butter, which is the unscented body butter, has already sold out, as well as the bundle. The only thing that I have left is the vanilla cashmere body butter, as well as the toasted marshmallows body butter. So do with that what you will. I am extremely grateful that we're almost out. So we should be out hopefully by the end of next week, maybe. I am super excited. But going back to the point of this video, normally around the end of a year, we're constantly thinking about the new year ahead and what the new year is gonna bring into our lives. And I don't know about you, but I'm the type of person where I get extremely anxious and I try to see how I'm able to accommodate like 20 goals into 1 year, and then I'm gonna be doing on a day-by-day basis, and I stress myself out. And because I'm stressing myself out over everything that I need to get done, I actually end up doing nothing, which is only hurting me in the end. So something that I wanted to talk about is that is not what we're doing this year. That is not what we're doing here on this channel, because I'm gonna be talking about some goals that we're actually gonna be implementing with ease, and that blends well with our day-to-day routines, because minor changes are what's going to make the biggest difference in order for us to stay consistent. So let's get right into this video. So the first thing that we need to start doing right before the ending of a year, or perhaps right now if you still haven't gotten started, is to start looking at your life. Realistically think to yourself, where ideally would I want to be in this next chapter of my life? Does that look like me planning to buy a home? Does that look like me actually starting to look for a job? Does that look like me starting a fitness routine and being consistent with that? What would you personally want the next phase of your life to look like? I know that I used to be one of those people that I would write down my own goals, and then I would scroll on social media and see people buying a house, and see people buying a new car, and see people just doing everything that I've always dreamed of. But I have to keep in mind that everyone's timing is completely different. And just because somebody bought a new car does not mean that I should be buying a new car, because it just doesn't realistically make sense for the next phase of my life. That's not really what I should be working towards too. So why would I do that? You know what I mean? So I just want you to be realistic in that sense. I'm not saying that you have to be realistic when it comes to dreaming big, because there's no such thing as being realistic when it comes to building your dream life, as I always mention. But I do want you to make sure that you're thinking about your goals based on what you want your life to look like in the next phase and what would make the most sense to you. The next point that I'm going to be bringing up is that you have to start including a fitness routine within your life. And I know you always hear that, oh my god, you have to be consistent with working out, you have to start looking put together and blah blah blah. When we think about working out, we don't necessarily reframe it into this point that I'm going to be making as of right now. Working out is a form of self-discipline, and when you have that type of discipline within yourself and you start showing up for yourself at the gym, once you start having that type of discipline and consistency for yourself, that's going to carry on onto every other phase of your life, which is the point that I'm trying to make. So you start being more disciplined and you start showing up differently for yourself. And the thing is that people are actually going to start noticing that about yourself. People are going to be like, wow, she is not just a regular girl. She's the type of girl that has discipline, that has high standards for herself. She's showing up for herself like that at the gym. Just imagine how she carries herself in other areas of her life. And that category, which is the fitness category alone, is going to change the way that people perceive you. People are going to perceive you so differently once they start seeing that you don't take bullshit for yourself. During this 2025 rebrand, I don't know about you, but I'm the type of person where I am upgrading every single phase of my life, and that includes the people that I'm talking to on an everyday basis. I want to start attracting people that are more aligned with this new version of myself, and the more that they see that I am disciplined just based off the way that my body looks, the lower the chances people are gonna have with messing around and finding out, to be honest. Speaking of people, I want to try unlocking new characters in my life for 2025. I want to have more diversity, more different layers to friendships, people that come from different backgrounds, people that work in different things, just making more connections, networking. I want to start attracting people that are more aligned with this new version of myself. I absolutely adore my friends from middle school, because those are the people that I've been friends with for 10 years. They're never leaving. You're never leaving. Of course, I already have them, but I want to add more. And the reason why I want to practice allowing more friendships into my life is because the way that I think about the brain and friendships is almost like this rubber band that's being stretched. So think of your mind as this rubber band, and when you're speaking to the same people constantly, like I only have my middle school friends, of course I'm giving that example, so I'm always speaking to them. Yes, we're speaking about new ideas and all of that, but there's only so much that we could talk about because they're not really in the same career field that I'm in, or perhaps they don't have maybe the same mentality that I'm turning into, if that makes sense. But I am more open to meeting new people that are in different backgrounds and that work different jobs than I do, just for me to be able to keep my rubber band stretched. And that way I'm able to work on my communication skills and my confidence skills as well. I cannot stress this enough, even for myself, because I constantly have to remind myself, but putting yourself into uncomfortable situations or into uncomfortable conversations, like meeting someone new sometimes could be a little bit uncomfortable, especially if you're trying to like feel them out and see if you could trust them. I don't know about you, but I'm also that type of person as well. Like I have to feel out your vibe to truly know if I trust you, to really see if I could be myself, because that's another thing too. Like friendships bring out different comfort levels, but I am okay with that this year. Like I don't always have to find myself another Tina. Tina's my best friend. I'm starting to be more than okay to realizing that I'm never gonna find another one of my best friends, so therefore I'm open to meeting other people that bring out different levels of comfort within me and that also blend in with other categories of my life. Like I want to find people that I could go to Pilates with, people that I could take painting classes with, or go to the gym with, or go on a picnic with, or go partying with. Like I'm okay with having friends for different categories, and it makes me super happy because as a person that grew up very introverted, making new friends or even the idea of it was super uncomfortable. I'm not even gonna lie. It is very uncomfortable and very scary. But the more that I've grown up, I've realized that I actually am starting to crave different types of friendships. And hell yeah, like I'm more than open to it. Okay, so I've been thinking very long and hard about this rebrand in 2025 because I'm trying to rebrand every aspect of my life, and a huge part of that is my wardrobe. So I find that over the past couple of years, especially the last 2 years, so I'm gonna say 2023 and 2024, those two have been the year where we have really been leaning into the clean girl aesthetic. And while the clean girl aesthetic is very good when it comes to its basics and just keeping things very simple and clean and cutesy or whatever, it does not represent individuality like whatsoever. And that's something that I'm actually trying to change within myself as well. Like I'm trying to be the most authentic version of myself in this new year, and that should also be including my wardrobe. And one of the ways that we can start being more creative when it comes to our wardrobe is to start taking on hobbies. And I know you might be thinking, but what the hell does having a hobby and a wardrobe like have anything to do with each other? And sorry, before I get into that, I actually wanted to give a little backstory as to what inspired this take, well, in this portion of this video. One of the things that inspired this take for me was watching one of Styling with Kenzie, or Style by Kenzie. But Kenzie is a stylist on Instagram that I've been following for the past 3 years, I'm gonna say. She was basically filming a video where she's speaking about the fact that she has lost her own sense of style. And I was like, wait, this is coming from a stylist. Like, how could that happen? And then of course, like, I'm like, girl, get yourself together, because a therapist could also be depressed. So like, I kind of had to like, whoop, I had to humble myself. The point that I'm actually trying to make is that she lost her sense of style because she's just been leaning into basics and this clean girl aesthetic that isn't really her, only because it's safe and it's comfortable and it's easy. Like, I'm not gonna lie, having the clean girl aesthetic and just picking things from a capsule wardrobe, sticking with the basics, that is obviously very comfortable, very safe, very easy, but it doesn't represent her authentic self. And I find that that is really important because I also feel the same way. I am bored when I look at myself. I want to be more eccentric. I want to show more layers of my personality through my clothes, and something that I've been discovering about myself as well. The good thing about making changes is that you can analyze it by looking at it through discoveries. Like, oh my god, like I found this new version of myself. I don't know, it's just something I wanted to throw out there. But I recently discovered within myself that I've been loving patterns so much. Like, and that's crazy because I don't think that 2021 me would ever say that, because I feel like I would look tacky, because you know that's when the clean girl aesthetic started happening, I believe. But especially as of like August, not even, probably like June, when I started to buy outfits for my Dominican Republic trip, I was looking at patterns and like leopard prints and cheetah prints, and I'm like, oh my god, like I'm so obsessed. Like I could eat this up. I'm even going as far as probably celebrating my birthday like in prints. because I'm obsessed. But it has been such a huge part of my personality, and I love being able to reflect that through my wardrobe. And it's funny because after I took my pictures of me being in my leopard dress in the Dominican Republic, I started to see more people wearing more pattern. Not saying that this started because of me, because I just think that this is a normal trend, especially after every August people start wearing more patterns and blah blah blah. I'm just saying that on my FYP I started to see more patterns and people wearing more prints, and it made me really happy because I'm like, okay, like we're all finding our personalities back. We're all finally swaying away from the clean girl aesthetic. And you can still have your clean girl aesthetic, because having a clean girl aesthetic is basically just sticking to your basics, your wardrobe, if that makes sense. Not necessarily saying that that's its entirety, but that's a huge part of it. You can still have that while still having more elevated pieces and also having a point of interest, or maybe adding some pattern or a pop of color. Finding ways to be more you, because it is about you, remember? I recently came across this post probably a few weeks ago, and I saw that the reason why we're starting to see a decline in personal style and having that eccentric authenticity layer to our wardrobe, it is because people are spending less time taking on hobbies. And I found that mind-blowing, because that is not an observation that I could have made completely on my own, if I'm being completely honest with you. Yeah, people are starting to not have that much time when it comes to their hobbies, because if you really think about it, I'm speaking about people, like the people that I am surrounded with as of right now. Like, I live in New York City. I was about to say where, but I can't tell you because of my safety, but I do not live in the richest parts of New York City, if I'm being honest with you. And the people that are constantly surrounded by me, they have to constantly work, if not 24/7, to actually survive in the city, to at least have something worth living for. So if they're constantly having like 2-3 jobs, fighting for their lives, trying to pay their bills, of course they're not gonna have time to find hobbies and actually spend their time in hobbies, which is why we're having a decline into personal style, because through hobbies is where you find your own individuality and your self-expression, and you also start taking more risks and experimenting more with the way that you look. I want to talk a little bit more on the hobbies that I want to start taking over, that maybe you can also include within your day-to-day life, even if you don't have all the time in the world to spare. But if I'm being honest, if you can be very intentional about your time and scroll less on your phone, because that's also a problem that we all are starting to have. One of the ways that I want to start prioritizing myself is through hobbies, by taking on Pilates. I want to be that Pilates girl. I want to start reading more books for fun. Like, I know we should be reading books that are feeding our brain as well, but I also love being able to just open up a book, read something very romantic and cheesy and witty, and that makes me laugh, and just immerse myself into that world, because it takes me somewhere so far that I actually start imagining myself in that position, start seeing life through those different lenses, and that is what's going to inspire my own personal style. Another hobby that I want to take over is cooking and baking. I kind of have been losing my spark for cooking, especially ever since I got into my weight loss routine. I kind of lost my love for cooking, only because everything that I know to love when it comes to food are the things that make my stomach hurt, because I am Dominican and it just doesn't blend well with my stomach. It gets me bloated and it gets me gassy. And that's something that I want to work towards, because I want to start making more meals that are still very much delicious, don't have to compromise with the health of keeping a flat tummy. I also want to start looking into baking healthier treats for myself and healthier pastries for myself and my family. Going on picnics in the summer and playing card or board games and just dressing up for the aesthetic. And I love that. That's one of the things that I absolutely love. And I feel like everybody else in my family is like, why do you always want to go to the park? I live in an apartment, so being able to stay outside at the park, just looking at the sunsets and being at my favorite park ever, I can't say it on here, but my favorite park ever in New York City, I live for that. I forgot to mention that also playing a little bit of jazz music and opening up a book as I'm laying down at the park, life-changing. I feel like you should try it. It's gonna change your life. Other creative hobbies that you could also take over that doesn't take up too much of your time would be something like sewing or painting, even though I can't paint for shit, but that's also something that I want to work on, because it quiets my creative mind. I feel like sometimes as creatives, I'm always like on the go, thinking about the next thing that I have to do. I'm a hustler at heart, so I'm always just constantly thinking and overthinking, and I never have the chance to just relax and just be in the moment. And I feel like painting brings that out of me, and I love it. All of that to say is that spending our time wisely and intentionally on hobbies is what's going to make us feel more authentic to becoming our dream selves in 2025 with ease. And because we're going to be so dependent on hobbies, it's going to be stretching out our rubber band when it comes to our individuality and experimentation for ourselves, instead of just depending on the clean girl aesthetic just to keep things safe and on the go. The last point that I wanted to bring up to you is that we have to start reframing our goals. So, por ejemplo, let's say we want to start working out 5 times a week. Instead of just thinking about that goal in that way, I want you to start reframing it as, I want to start feeling more energized and more productive and more disciplined. So what are some of the ways that I can start showing up for myself in this week that will reflect those feelings? To me, that looks like working out 5 times a week. To me, that looks like cooking healthier meals that are still delicious but doesn't compromise on all of the issues that my stomach is currently going through. Something as simple as just reframing the way that you think can ease your anxiety and will allow you to have the best rebrand of your life in 2025. Please don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe, because it really does help out my channel as a small creator. And don't forget to also follow me on Instagram and on Threads in order to keep up with me on an everyday basis. I'll be seeing you guys in my next video. Mwah. Bye!